Vad fan inte igång man har gjort i ett sånt med.
Det är originerade.
Jag tror aldrig jag har hört det.
Det låter som något helt annat.
Sjukaste svengelska jag har hört.
Ursprung.
Aldrig hört ordet. Alltså inte originerat utan original.
Ja, jo, alltså original. Ja.
Men att det kommer härifrån rör. Så att när jag liksom aktiverade den rösten så bara... Smärtan kom här. Så det blir sträckt för att de nya insamlar så att de ska gå in i varandra. Så de vill inte passa med ett insystem. Så att har man en gammal som blir löst.
Kör varannan och slutar. Ja. Welcome back.
Yeah. That's good to see you. Everything good? Even the little one?
Testing, mic 1 2, check 1 2, 2 testing, mic 1 2, check 1 2, testing. Signals coming in. Okay. Testing, mic 1 2, check 1 2, 2 testing. Testing, mic 1 2, check.
entered another game. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, Edin! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Minus 1,000 flash will win Apres Curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys. They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Caitlin.
Here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No, they like line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day. A job well done. Locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean. Keep going, Edin. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys. They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot. But here we go, it's happening. Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No, they like line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day, a job well done, and the final Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Conquered another game. A long day. A job well done. Locally, enjoy casual.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed when they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, Edin! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys. They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Caitlin.
But here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No,
Oh,
they
line's
like
good.
line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day. A job well done. And the final work call. Mr. Mice. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed when they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, Edin! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys. They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Caitlin.
But here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece to the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No, they like line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day, a job well done, and the final work. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
tyckte...
Ja, jag tyckte det var också kom långt.
Benen lättare.
Last drop.
Yep.
8th in.
Whoa.
The tie to 5. Is it on Rano?
Conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mice, eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean. Keep going, Edin. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys. They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot. But here we go, it's happening. Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No, they like line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day, a job well done.
Last drop. 8th in. The tie to 5. Is it on Rano?
sheet A, first up, throwing the yellow rocks, curling out of Stirling, Scotland, Team White. And their opponents, throwing the red rocks, curling out of Bern, Switzerland, Team Bruno. And over to sheet B, first up, throwing the yellow rocks, curling out of Karlstad, Sweden.
And then Team Craik, who last year were in the Tier 2. I know because I coached against them, and this year they're a staple in the slams, it seems, and they're in every game, and they've qualified in a couple of slams last year, and so I would expect a good matchup here, and hopefully lots of great shots and some misses too, Ty. That makes it kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, it's something we see commonly in the first draw, especially, Brett, where teams are just trying to get their feet and find the ice. You'll hear us say that quite a lot in the first day, especially. But, Brent, you were here last night for practice with Team McHugh and said that ice was running a little straighter than we normally see for pre-event practice for slams, and maybe got a little more curl towards the end. But what did you see for speed and curl pre-competition?
Yeah, generally when you come out for practice, you know it's not going to be anything like the game. It's usually way slower and curling like crazy. And last night it started off not as slow as normal, but a little less curl than you'd normally see. So I would expect this to be I hate to use the word straight, but it's going to be straighter than we normally see at the slams, I would say. You know, it's going to be inside the edge of the 8-foot would be my guess. But an amazing facility, you know, by all accounts. Everybody's raving about this arena. And it's only a couple of years old and built for, as Benny Heaps told me last night, for his kids kids hockey, which is pretty incredible. This is one of the nicer arenas you'll see for a Grand Slam. Seems like it was built for us, Ty, for these events.
Yeah, this is a fantastic facility, and we'd heard glowing reports coming in before we arrived at the arena, but now we can see why. We both said kind of reminded us a little bit of Toronto with the venue for the Players' Championship, but just outside the city of Edmonton, up here in Nisku. Nice, easy travel for those of us coming up from the States, too. But we are still watching the last shot draw as there's a tie on the button with Team Cooey and Team Retornaz on sheet C. Before we get things going, Joel pulled the string a little on his, so I think we're probably going to be good pretty soon on that.
And that's the first draw. They're counting 2 draws, so they weren't both on the pin for each team. It was actually a tie where it wasn't on the button.
Oh,
that was
That was a legitimate tie.
Yeah, because I watched Craik slide back 4, and then all of a sudden he's going down to shoot again. I'm like, what is going on here? So it looks like Team Retornaz will have the hammer here. I didn't see who won the hammer in our game. Team Craik didn't have 2 of their best draws, so I'm gonna take a wild guess and say Team Edin will start with the hammer in our game.
And Brent, we talked a little about Team Craik being in the Tier 2 last season for the Tour Challenge event. Not unusual in the last couple of years to see these young teams, especially the European teams, advancing into the slams, making it into the top 16 rankings, and this has just become commonplace now over the last few years. And it's great to see this good young talent as the future of our sport in these Grand Slams.
Yeah, you think they're going to kind of get into the slams and fall out of the slams and get into the slams. That's how it's supposed to go. But a lot of these Euros, you know, I'm looking at Team White right beside them. Once they got into the slams, they never let go. So Craik is doing a good job of that so far. It's not easy to stay in the top 16 teams in the world. It's harder than it's ever been. And you see the young teams, and you know, on the Canadian side, we've got Team Kleider in this week. Not only did they earn a spot by winning the Tier 2, it also qualified them for this one. So
that's
to
a
see
big
them
win
in
for them.
the next 2 slams.
So it is Team Craik leading things off with lead Blair Haswell perfectly on the center line in the no-tick zone. Christopher Sundgren, I think we can call him a veteran now.
Oh yeah.
Intern draw coming around to the top of the 8-foot. Brent, I think most players on tour would agree that Chris is one of the unsung heroes out there on tour, one of the top leads in the world. I defy anybody to not put him in the top 3 or 4. Just so consistent, obviously great weight reader as well, but I mean, his precision with his draws is what allows this team to be able to get ahead and keep their opponent chasing.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it. I don't think many people talk about him. And maybe that's what makes a good lead.
Yeah.
Maybe you want somebody that makes all their shots and that kind of goes about their business. I guess it depends on the team.
Kind of like
makeup.
a good offensive lineman if you're a football person. That if they don't talk about you, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's easy to talk when a lead really doesn't set things up and gets you in trouble.
Where did we get into this trouble? Oh, that lead again. Threw that back 8s to start the end off.
A bit like a referee in a game. If you know the ref's name, they're not a very good one.
Nice
when you
freeze to
conquered
rock in the top
another
8
game.
there by Haswell for Team Craik. Edin electing to play the outturn side now and throwing the draw to the top of the 12. I got a little excited for a second there, Brent, that we might see the open side draw in the first end of the first game.
After you said that after we talked about that last event, it happened like 8 times.
Yeah. You know, I think that the players go back and listen to the broadcasts afterwards, and then they think, you know, if these guys think it's a good idea, we probably should start implementing that again.
More like if we can make Langer look like an idiot, that's probably what we should do.
We may have had sides on that one, yeah. It didn't take long after we brought that up on the air either. It took me about 3 shots to bring it up here, too, obviously. So nicely placed by Sundgren.
Yeah, right on cue, just like you said. And already going to see a run back here. These are tough in the first end. They typically curl a little bit in the first end, and then they'll be straight after one path. But oh, the double touch
gets those both moving, clears both, does leave the guard, and one of the counters goes under a short corner. A little unlucky there for Craik.
The double touch, I think, kept that one in play, and it looks to be kind of half buried behind there too. Kind of really good opportunity now for Team Edin. Rasmus Rana, reigning world mixed doubles champion, decided to pick that up last year with his sister and just took home the world title.
For a hobby, yeah, in our spare time.
Locked in Sweden pretty much for the Olympic spot as well, as a side bonus, as the rest of us countries are still struggling and scrambling. And
that's one that's more difficult to qualify for than just about any other event, too. If getting into the Olympics for mixed doubles with all the teams that are vying to get in and the format that they have, getting their country in early, extremely important. Perfect placement from Rana. Again, right to the top of the 8-foot, and as we've mentioned so many times, Brent, that spot with the amount of curl that we have and where the center guard is, not so high that you could go around it or have a shorter run, not so deep that you could dig it out with hack. That's exactly where they want that start.
This is a call we'd almost never see in my day.
Yeah.
Especially in my early days. But to not make contact on a run back now is starting to feel like you flashed an open hit, which is as crazy as that seems. That's how good these guys are getting.
And you notice the weight control on that shot as well, where they wanted to keep the shooter for a center guard. Try to stick it if you can, but does roll out. Edin will try to replace that stone again. Nice comfortable end for Team Edin to start with rock under a corner guard. And
I actually like going open side here, Tyler.
It wouldn't be bad. The guard is probably high enough that it's not a lot of danger.
And it's not right on the center line. Probably this is the draw they know best in the first end. No, this is, if I'm Rasmus, I'm saying, give me the one I can make.
Trying to get right back to that top 8 spot. Sundgren trying to finish a little for line. Didn't want to sweep it deeper, but had to finish to try to bury. Ends up on the top of the button. may see it pick up a little speed on these paths early on, too.
This. I don't hate it, to be fair. They just roll over.
The fact that that's not buried allows them to consider a couple of shots here.
It's up to you. What's your preference? That's relatively natural.
Yeah, I think that's a good shot.
The old angle raised double is relatively natural.
I mean, I guess if you're talking angles, it is. But
if you hit it in the right spot, it works. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's going in the right direction for sure.
2/3, 3/4. Might come off a hair.
This I like this call though. That's your second point. The longer you leave that there, the more likely you are to give up 2.
Mark Watt, Team Craik, third, playing the out-turn, run-in, cross-house double. Only gets the 1, but loses the corner guard, and now it's 2 open stones, and Brent, kind of an odd angle here for Edin now, too, to not leave a double back.
Right on the nose would leave probably the hardest double. It'll be about 1/8 of a rock on either side. Didn't even really talk about the come around. Probably because he knows how good these guys are at the run back, but I would consider throwing one around top 8. Probably still only plays for a deuce, so this is a good call. I wonder if Craik will switch to the back line hit and roll on shot rock, because I don't see him taking on a double here.
Oscar Eriksson, perfect hit and stick, nice control weight at the top of the 12-foot.
There didn't do much. It was more weight, but
Deciding if this is too thin to play the double. It looks like they're just playing the roll. Watt's second, playing the out turn. Like to get as close to this yellow on the button as possible with the roll. Really curling here, though.
This is real light.
Watch the roll. Yes, yes, yes.
What a shot.
Yeah, nice shot.
That's fantastic from Watt. And Brent even rolled it to the opposite side of the guard, to the line they could play to clear the yellow.
It's kind of like video game curling right there. First end to make a just kind of a heavy hack quarter rock hit and roll to the button. Still a chance here. And back line, I speak a little bit of Swedish. I heard the back line part. Trying to bump this yellow one. The further they bump it back, the happier they'll be. They know they're going to leave the young Scottish team shot rock here, but that's not really what they're worried about. This will be a bit of a guess on weight. That's what they're talking about right now.
And this is that in-between path, too, Brent, that we talked about so many times at the Tour Challenge, where you're in kind of the middle of the 8-foot to the edge of the 4s, and they tend to cut and lose speed quickly, especially early in the end.
The speed's coming off in a big way. They listen to you.
Yeah,
exactly what you said.
Yeah, that's fairly consistent. I mean, with curling in general for the first end, but especially on slam ice. I'm sure the 16-time champion here wouldn't have made that mistake.
Oh, right. No, I wouldn't have, because I played second, and I don't get those harder shots. That's why you play front end, folks. We used to joke if it was too hard, that looks like a backhand shot. Let's find something easier, Glenn.
Don't want to think too much about the roll. That we're not doing much to the
I think he's looking at the wrong side of the sheet here.
Do you ever drawing?
I mean, we're not
probably 10
right beside, but it looks like a hit and roll on the other side, even if you nosed it.
I think they are two.
It looks like it's, you can maybe see 3/4 of that yellow stone, side 4.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to hit this red one and lie shot. Let's see what they're saying
That's
here.
pretty risky.
Make this lose 5. Yeah. 9?
9, I think.
Okay.
Just here.
Okay, I can get behind this call.
It
He's
does come up quite a bit here.
throwing it harder.
3/4.
He throws 9.
3/4 low.
He could maybe.
So you're 3/4 low.
Yeah.
So they're not real concerned about where the raise rock goes to. They're more concerned with the shooter.
just in case.
And they do have some space between the guard and that red stone, so they can make this short run and roll the shooter over towards the other yellow counter. They're actually going to be in very good shape. It's so important to get the roll on this shot.
Yeah, he's got to risk hitting the guard here. Said 9, which is kind of a normal takeout weight. Doesn't want to baby it. Have it over curl.
Expect this to take a snap, and it does. Oh, that's really well done again.
Doesn't quite get shot is the only good news for Nick and the fellas.
Yeah, they kind of got right in between the two. If it rolls a little less, they're shot. If it rolls a little more, they're right on top of that yellow stone.
This red one's mostly buried too. I wonder. Not a lot of spots for Nick to go here though. You can see there's a lot of options where that red one stopped. Anything on the button. You just hit that red one anywhere.
Han kan ju spela den in också, men då kanske han hackar. Den här har man inte många sen. Nej, där du gillar att lägga den. Jag gillar att dra mot locket, försöka bajta mäthålet typ.
Isn't there like AI or something that could just instantly translate this for us? Isn't that a thing?
Let's see if our good friends here with Home Team Live on the broadcast can figure that out.
We'll get a closed captioning.
Det bästa tycker jag är att lägga en här. Men det är svårt.
What do you like here, Tyler? I don't love drawing to the button. It's just so exact, and if you make any little error, they follow you down and freeze, you give up a steal. If you put it on the top of the button, they hit their red, you're going to have to draw the side of the button.
I think you're at 4 open. Yeah, if you're trying to make sure you're 2. I saw Oscar call that briefly.
Any thought of just hitting that open one and lying third and having make a real tough shot on a fresh side? And if he does make it, you still have the draw, you know, for 1.
Yeah, that was kind of the reason I like drawing back 4 here, because you can't see all of that red stone.
No, definitely not.
So they'd have to decide if they want to take that on against a 3, or if you just hit the open one and give 2. And I think they probably would. I mean, they try to roll and make it tough, but I don't think there's a spot that Craik could roll to if they hit the open one that Edin still wouldn't have a shot for 2.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're playing with this broom. I think they're just drawing to side 4 foot just behind the tee line. So Nicholas Edin, 7-time world champion, 7-time European champion.
Grizzly veteran now. I mean, he hasn't changed his look much since, you know, I first saw him in mid-2000s, but he's been around a long time.
Actually throwing it right to the lid.
Trying to get it far enough that he just...
It looks like you could just drill the red and lose
He must
both.
not be able to see very much of that, but...
Only a quarter case, so from our vantage point, it looked like it was maybe half, which would be plenty to play that shot.
I think the best shot is the freeze then, yeah. If you're not hitting the red one, I think you got to follow him down.
For 2. We're not going to leave him a shot. Like, we're going to leave him a shot for 2 either way.
Unless his nose, and then if they nose, are they second? Hard to tell.
That's
from
very close
up here in the rafters.
Yeah, on the overhead, it's difficult to tell as well.
Should run nice for you.
There's no real roll under because it's actually almost edge on edge with the top 4 red one.
Like really sideways.
So you,
just a hair more
if 2 noses is 2 here, I don't like this call.
They curled it after the hog line.
Okay.
But if you nose it and you can't nose it back, then it's a great call. Yeah, it looks awfully close. James Craik probably hack weight here, back line. Got to get it out of the 8 foot.
Craig's final stone, first end. This is really cutting early, Brent. Uh-oh. That in-between path again. Will it get by the guard? And once again, That edge of 4 path,
Just
hack
light.
weight, is light and over curls.
Just light. He had the right line. He just needed 8-10 feet more weight.
So all of a sudden a draw for 3 for Nicholas Edin. Throwing the exact same draw he just threw on his first. Always love that at any position, let alone skip.
Yeah, for 2 reasons. One, because you know how to make it. But secondly, to have a really good, and these guys keep rock books. They have a pretty good idea. But we recondition the rocks before every event, and this will give them a perfect chance to get a good read on the line and the speed. And start your skip off with 2 draws to the button. It usually leads to a pretty well-played game by your skip.
Final stone, first end of our feature matchup. Nicholas Edin, in-turn draw. Needs to get half of the 4-foot for his 3. That guard moved over as well. Probably wouldn't factor into the line. Sweepers like it. Sundgren leaning on this pretty good, but hearing T is the call. That will settle in perfectly for the 3-point end for Team Edin. Hot out of the gates. They lead Craik 3-0 after 1 end.
Long day. A job when you've conquered another game. A long day. A job well done. And the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Only 1 point scored the other 3 games across the sheets, but Nicholas Edin comes up with a 3 to start off this Co-op Canadian Open Grand Slam of Curling. Tyler George here with Brent Lang, for those of you tuning in and end late. Brent, a little bit of a cat and mouse game there in the first with positioning and a couple different options for placement for Team Edin, and obviously when you hang the 3, it looks like you picked the right shot.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to tell from up here, and it's easy to make all the shots from the booth. But it didn't look like the hit on the last one there looked like you were probably giving up 2 anyway. The draw looked easier to me and would have left Nick a really tough draw for 2 to the side of the button. So I think hindsight's easy to say that.
It's good.
But a big hole now in game 1 to go down 3 in the first end. You're coming out, you're excited to get off to a good start against one of the best teams in the world, and you give up 3, and that tests your mettle pretty early.
Time weight.
And for Team Edin, a team that, for all their accomplishments, tend to start a little slower in slams. So to get that 3 right out of the gates and feel the early momentum, I know it's been 1 end to play, but maybe a team we need to keep an eye on going forward as a contender for this title.
You heard it here first. Tyler George says Nick Edin will win this slam.
Didn't waste any time. 1 end into the competition.
I saw some betting odds, and just based on odds, that Team Constantini was crazy low chance of winning, and they qualified A at the last slam and then lost in the quarters.
I think that's something we need to institute more in the booth, is the betting odds for these things.
Yeah, I'm not a huge gambler, but I would sprinkle on that. I don't think we're probably allowed to, but yeah, that looked like a good bet. And then they had Team Jacobs coming off a win. You know, hometown province here, and they had them kind of 6th or 7th.
That surprises me,
right?
Especially with what we saw in the previous slam and their results since. I mean, I would say that team is playing as well as anybody in the world right now. So
there's your insider info. That's not really insider info, but yeah, more like two guesses.
As much as an 8 a.m. draw can be insider info for those of you that are awake, maybe the 8 a.m. draw will be the gambling information draw.
Makes sense.
If you want to make money, you got to get up early and listen to Brent and I.
And I forget what they had Team Holman at. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Even money?
It was a little bit better than that, but not a lot.
Yeah. Nice start there from Sundgren once again, top 4 and top 8. Rana now throwing the guard, and 2 uniquely staggered corner guards for Team Craik.
Yeah, probably not by design. I would suggest light
Try
on the
and push
second.
her
But
across to make a
your
double
lead
there.
becomes your best defender after a
leave it in
big
there,
end. You
low.
see where Christopher put those two perfectly, full 4, top 8, lined up. Trying to make this run back that you know is coming as hard as possible to clear all 3. The longer you stay shot, the harder it is for Team Craik to set up that deuce.
Go. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Just really like to keep this rock around and make the run.
Okay, good.
If that curls another half inch, it's perfect. Instead, just peels the center. Right, with the way the guards are angled, it's kind of awkward.
There's no peels
I
coming.
think you're just throwing the guard
This is why
again,
the 5-rock rule is awesome.
Yeah.
Because we as commentators, I'm personally not smart enough to fill a whole end of air when they're not doing anything but peeling. It's really hard, even no matter what the score is. It's difficult to get a chance to throw any peels. Just trying to replace this. And then I think Angus will take another shot at this same run back. And it was well thrown. They just got a little greedy trying to roll it and forgot about the most important part is make some noise in the middle. Left that one too high though. Got to chase.
Yeah, they're trying to finish at the end, but couldn't turn it enough. And you can see probably half, maybe a little less than that from the hack, but that's plenty, Brent, to play just a nice, soft, maybe solid hack, hit and roll under the corner, which really changes the complexion of this end.
A lot of times, if you don't make this roll, you could leave them lying 2. If you hit a 2/3, you're going to clip the back one. They're both going to stay in the 8-foot.
Why are we curling that?
Okay, Martin.
Kind of like that.
Aaron Angus Bryce a little confused as to why they're trying to turn that.
It's in a really good spot, though. It's a tough one for Nick and the fellas to hit. Very usable. You can't possibly guard this early.
I think he was assuming they were still trying to roll under the corner, but
maybe an audible.
I think correct audible there too, to try to move the back one as far as possible and leave it exactly where it is. As you said, it's kind of a difficult rock for Edin to deal with.
Sounds like he's saying something important, but I have no idea what he's saying here. You can't guard because he has the hit and roll. He could outturn chases there and lie 1st and 3rd. That'd be bad.
I think he said, I can't believe they had us 8-1 to win this slam. It's unbelievable.
Is he looking at the triple on the Reds? Is that where we're at in the world right now? That seems insane.
Well, if you're going to play that shot, you got to really believe it's lined up absolutely perfectly to do it.
Just another one of those natural triples?
Yeah. That's what he was saying. This is really, I mean, you just got to hit it.
We are on time clocks here as well, so the time is ticking. They do get I find they get plenty of time to play an 8-end game, thinking time, so your clock's only running while you're thinking or talking or not shooting. Once Oscar hits the back line here, the clock will stop. They still don't seem sold, but Oscar's, let's get on with it. That's kind of Oscar's attitude. I love how Oscar operates on the ice. Pretty laid back. Let's see what's going to happen. Fast player makes a ton of shots. Yeah, they're going to take this on. This is not one that would come up in my mind. So triple and roll to guard our 2. Is that what we're playing?
Looks to be the call.
It just, these guys are better than me, obviously, but if you just over curl here and tick this red one in the house, you might see some anger.
Eriksson throwing peel weight, trying to clear all 3 reds. A horrible miss that doesn't leave the house.
Look at the roll he got.
What a shot by Eriksson.
Well, there you go.
If you're going to make it, why not? I mean, if you can make 3 shots at the same time, the double peel, the takeout in the house, and the guard. Can you give a 6 out of 4? Is that a score we're allowed to give?
No, that one didn't leave the ring. So
All
it's
right.
not a 6.
5 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Didn't even make the shot he called.
Like 13-5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now 2 center guards and 2 buried underneath for Edin.
Mine curl's pretty nice here.
Kind of got to make sure you weather the storm here, your team, Craik. I know you want to make score 2 here and kind of get back in the game, but you also don't want to give up another point. That would really take the wind out of the sails. 20 minutes in and you feel like you've already lost.
13-5. 13-2. Yep.
Just trying to heavy draw, tap this rock in the top of the fours behind the tee if they can.
Whoa, clean. Clean. Curl. Hard.
Okay.
He moves it over at least.
13.
Not sure they could do a lot more than what they did with how much they could see of that yellow stone, but really had to move it, and the only other option to move it would have been the double run, which they really didn't want to take on.
10-3, den kommer fram som ett 10-8.
I think I see some credentials coming our way, Brent.
We're not going to get kicked out?
Not yet. We still have the mics on, though.
We're not going to get kicked out for lack of credentials.
That's correct, yes.
Trying to roll this one right to the top of the button. Put the pressure. Not a word said. Is this just don't touch it? It's perfect. Didn't even try and carve that one. It's interesting to see how different teams handle the sweeping. In general, I do think it's become too big a part of the game.
A little surprised, Brent, that they didn't try to roll that in, that they opted just to nose and leave that there. There's not much they can do to get shot.
Trevor, just make the roll under just now.
I think, yeah, if they want to roll under here,
I don't know how they're getting
that's
it.
definitely what you want to do and get second shot. And
for Edin playing the nose on their
yeah, I think they were playing the roll, but they didn't try and carve it or anything. They didn't seem too concerned. But yeah, I think that was option A.
Clean. Yep.
11-5, the call from the sweepers. Control weight. Be closer to board.
Hard.
11-5. Hard.
It took a lot of years for the men's game to realize the women were smarter with the timing of hits and stuff, eh? But everybody's kind of got there now.
That's kind of par for the course for us, period.
Yeah, it's still hard. Like Jen still says numbers in mixed doubles, and I have to say, is that normal? What is that?
Yeah, there's still a little time with the conversion in our brains here.
Perfect shot there, and now you see the challenge.
And that's why I thought they might try to roll in, because I mean that's a perfect roll. But if you roll to that spot now, it's a great angle for Team Craik to use, and the #1 counter is open through that hole.
That's 2 perfect hack weight hit and rolls for Mark Watt in the first 2 ends. That he made that perfect hit and roll to what we thought was to set up the force. Ended up in a 3, but I think they got a draw here. But where do you draw to? Anything past the red that's just a corner buried would be good, but then they're going to hit and roll again maybe and lie second and third, and then you got a perfect draw again.
Intern lägga som en corner liksom. Ja, försöka få den. Jag tror det. Sätta han in den där, då har vi antingen PT:n eller dra.
Is this red? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Det låter bra.
This red one over here on the corner is open. I know it's thin, but he's going to play that slash and be lying 2 buried if he makes it. Looks paper thin maybe from our angle. From over here, it looks like a nose hit. We're on the side.
Yeah.
Interesting call here. I don't know if the guard. Oh, you can hear Craik saying maybe we'll play the intern draw around.
Intern guard for Edin. Cover up the #1 counter. Looks like it's got a ways to go to curl. Has to get across the center.
Mitt på loggan.
Get off that guard.
Got a little bit of a guide there from the center. Ends up just fine. Good shot.
Ganska mjukt satt, liksom neutral.
Känns som linjen hade kommit ändå även utan tack.
Can he get to his red one?
If
Yeah.
we do that, we're opening up the freeze for them.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, try and get it as close to nose as we can.
Yeah, either right round or draw or tap it, I think.
Tap's got to be easier just because of the path. If you try and draw around that, you're going out into kind of fresher ice, and then
14-5.
you're guessing. The tap, at least you know. You saw the hack waiter. You've seen a bunch of draws.
I think that's pretty similar.
This has to be
'Cause I had,
easier.
like, what, a half rock? Yeah.
I kind of just want it to be right on my nose.
It's pretty gradual down here.
So if he makes this, what does Team Edin play after is always the question. If he makes a good shot here, taps it to the top of the button,
13-5, try and get as
Team
close to nose as we
Edin,
can.
I don't know what they do.
Should be able to hold it.
They're going to have to make a draw because they need to get third shot. Otherwise, there will be some sort of run back
14-5.
for 2 or 3. Because this will be third shot, I think, if they tap, won't it?
15 for draw weight, so we're just
Looks like it on the screen.
Looks to be. I think that's correct.
Okay.
If he could ever tap kind of 2/3 and just tap it a couple feet for shot and the shooter doesn't roll far and line up this side onto shot rock, that would be pretty great.
In-turn tap attempt here. James Craik. Team Craik ranked 14th in the world, 21st year to date.
Clean.
Wait's close.
Clean.
Line 4.
Carl.
Just for line.
Carl.
Just for line. Wait's good.
Carl.
Wait's good.
Carl. Whoa.
They like this one a lot.
Back 4.
Yes. Hard. Gotta go. Hard. Nothing on the top. Sit.
Does sit for shot.
Pretty good shot. Actually over curled.
13-7. What was it?
13-7.
Tight. Tror vi är bättre.
They're looking to see who's third.
Tight.
They were surprised by the amount of curl there, Brent.
Sounded like
Over
it.
curled on his first and the first end as well.
Maybe
Again,
the
that
rock.
the track we were keeping an eye on maybe makes a difference, but it's something just to watch maybe going forward if that rock ends up over curling again. We take pride in catching those before the players sometimes up here in the booth.
Där lägger en gard där, låt han dra här. Ja, risken är om jag går för klippen och inte vill toucha toppstenen om jag blazer
They are burning a ton of time this end, I can tell you that.
Garda då. Ja. Ja. Göra hålet tight och låt han dra det vidare.
They're content to leave that slash in that you talked about, Brent, throwing the guard.
It's obviously way thinner than it looks from here. You're going to force them to play something for at least, they must think they're third.
Väldigt vid i alla fall för att gå ut sida.
Now, if you make that slash really good, if it is there, you could make it for 3
Make the
anyways.
back one, yeah. It almost just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Det är nog inte mer än 1-2 meter.
It looks like a third from here, maybe a little thinner.
I know, it doesn't look crazy thin from here.
Dean is indeed playing the guard on his last. Taking away the draw for 2. Going out in the weeds a little bit, on the outside of the sheet.
Mellan. Bra sen, klippa håller i bara.
Mellan.
Stanna om den över.
Just trying to take that draw path away, so they want it to die now. Don't know that that really took much away. I think that same draw is still there if they want it, but
He's not running out to play anything, so that's a good sign if you're a Team Edin fan. They're really trying to figure out who's third, but
You think?
does it change anything? Like, that's still your
I
shot,
almost
isn't it?
think this runs easier than paper thin in that side.
So it is paper thin.
So whatever you prefer.
I think it might be yellow. Oh, you think it's yellow? I think so. You're just gonna have a look if you want.
I think
They're
either
not
way, we've
sure.
got a tough shot for 2, so we kind of have to play the same either way.
So it's not there?
Pick your run back. I don't think this
The run's
matters.
almost easier with how small the scoring area is.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know.
I think that in-turn draw is there if they wanted to play it, but they're talking about nothing but the
Playing the long one
runs.
So that wide
This
one
is
must
like
be
an
paper thin.
easy weight, sort of.
They
actually mentioned it too on the previous shots. You heard him say, well, we're probably playing this in.
Draw's not easy. Like this, I'd back him to make this run.
Literally just a hair high. Yeah.
There's also an odd chance that
I think they said they're not throwing a bomb here either, just kind of controlling the weight to try to stick it.
Anything over 11 is difficult.
Craig taking Watt taking the long view from the house on the run.
I hate to even say this out loud, but is it possible to pick your own out here?
Sure. Final stone, second end.
Yep.
Long out-turn run back for James Craik.
Yes! Hard! Hard! Whoa!
Oh, no.
Oh. I think it was possible, but just papers by through the hole. So a steal of one for Edin. Now after 2 ends of play, they lead 4-0 on Team Craik.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
They had the score incorrect there from the end of the second. Is a single for Craik. They do take one. Edin leads 3-1 after 2 ends of play. Craik down 2 without, throwing the center guard to start this third end. Blair has well.
2/3.
Line's good.
Good morning to those all across the North American continent.
Mark's line.
Good afternoon
It's pretty
to
narrow.
those
Mark
watching
a wee bit.
their countrymen in Scotland and Sweden. Over in
At the
Europe.
back of the logo.
Over curling.
Back of the logo.
16.
Okay.
Okay.
Soft or?
Center guard over curls across the center, but Edin will leave that as is. Out turn come around for Sundgren.
I think Team Edin probably won't see them throw any guards for a while now. That was more guards than you'd normally see from a team up 3-0 in the second end, but worked out, got the force.
And as you mentioned, Brent, with the 5-rock rule, not only does it cause more of those guards to be thrown, but the way the angles played out with those 2 staggered corner guards in the second for Craik, there really wasn't a lot Edin could do to peel regardless.
No, exactly. The best defense is a good offense, especially in the 5-rock rule.
Okay.
I sometimes wonder if the best defense is going to become the double center guards. As crazy as that sounds.
Hard
Top
line.
12.
Hard line.
Top 12.
Gotta go line. Hard, get by. Hard. Top
Sweepers
12.
really
Line's
hammering
good.
this to try to get by the
Hard.
center guard.
Yep.
Right in the eight.
Goodbye.
Right in the eight.
Yes.
We're not gonna.
Probably need to get worried now.
Much. That's fine.
Ends up buried, but in the top of the 12-foot, so that yellow stone for Team Edin. Really in good position now.
Bite 8. Så det är en ståndbit emellan dem. Han kan ju frysa sen, men jag kan nog gilla att frysa där. Bite 4.
Normally, in the first end of a game or a tie game, you might see them throw the corner freeze on the top one, but being up 2 with the hammer, they don't want to hook anything on the center line. Allow Team Craik to get anything behind it.
I like this call coming around the wide side.
I thought we might see open side.
Yeah, I don't think they wanted to leave one rock in the center to freeze to, but it was an option. Just trying to come right to their own around this rock in the top of the 12. Starting to curl hard now. Over curls just a little bit.
Can we get to nose?
Just less than all.
Top.
Okay.
Moves that stone over a little bit actually helps.
I mean, I
Craik,
can probably
but
get
they
to
can
nose.
use that for a tap now as well.
Does it ever just leave them a double?
I think the nose bump's better.
Yeah. 14-5.
14.
So they're taking on a lot of risk here, and this is a pretty comfortable situation for the middle-aged men from Sweden. Can we call them that yet? Are they middle-aged?
I think we should.
That makes me way past middle-aged, but I think
that's a good
those are
point,
just
too.
facts.
He's good.
Math is hard to debate,
Line's close.
Curl. Back foot.
but I don't see
Hard
anything
curl.
else. I guess
Back eight.
it's probably a
Round everything.
Hard.
Go. Whoa, clean. Yep.
You look heavy.
Whoa, back eight.
doesn't look good for
13-4,
anything.
so
I don't
didn't think Craik could have stayed
know
in the
that they
rings.
knew what to do with it in that last quarter of the sheet, as it wasn't going to curl enough to make the tap.
Just ticking that red one is actually really bad.
Yeah, this
now
is
that shot rock is so well protected and
really good setup for Edin now. Rasmus Rana. Open hit and stick. Might try to roll it away just a little bit too, but want to stay for second shot. A little error there from Rasmus. Hangs out, rolls out.
sounded like that surprised them a little bit. They didn't hate it, but they look like a team that doesn't sweep to curl. Most teams would be screaming to carve that.
Maybe overthrown just a touch there on that shot.
That would make sense.
And for those watching, wondering about sweeping to curl, carving stones, the more weight that's thrown, the less effect you're going to have on it. Same as any other curling shot. So once it gets to a certain weight, there are teams that elect not to sweep on those shots, thinking that it's really not going to affect the line that much and they're wasting reps, but also probably thought that there wasn't any amount of sweeping that was going to keep that around.
No.
Hard. Gotta go. Yes.
Gotta try and line this up or something.
Spines.
15-3.
There's some teams that they're sweeping constantly. Straight, curl, curl, straight. Just always sweeping. That's not a team I don't want to play for, especially anymore.
I'm out.
Yeah.
It's not our team.
Nothing wrong with clean or right off. Right off's not something you ever hear anymore. Trying to rip the double here? No, it looks like he's going to try and nose this, so big shot here. But this is looking a little bit bleak for you Scottish fans.
Just not quite sharp yet for Team Craik. Again, not unusual with our first draw of the competition, early morning draw.
Yes.
Kind of lined that up on a shot rock. I don't know why they tried to roll that. I would have preferred that one just kind of nose hit.
Yeah, a little surprised they turned that over and then rolled in.
We can't have to go there.
As you said, it kind of makes that run an easier shot if they do play it at some point. I think they're just going to freeze for now. There is third Mark Watt once again.
Top 8.
Blair, clean.
Top 12.
Team Craik this season, 5th at the Tour Challenge. Or you could call that quarterfinals, I suppose. Semi-finalists at the Grand Prix Bern.
Lights good.
Quarterfinalists at the Euro Super Series.
Top 8. Hard. Yep. Line.
So 21st year to date.
Waist good.
Oh. Curl.
One of the reasons it's hard to stay in the slams when you just barely get in the slams is because all of a sudden you're playing 3 of them, and that's 3 events that are really difficult to qualify in.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, Brent, with the competition you're playing makes it very difficult, but the amount of points that you get if you are able to qualify is significant.
And that's what happened to Team Craik last year. They qualified, I think they qualified twice in the slams in the 3 they played, and That's like winning those other spiels. You're going to see some granite move here from Oscar. Might see all the reds fly.
Trying to get a bunch of granite moving.
Yeah, see you later, reds.
Nice.
That's a drop in the bucket for Oscar.
Is that good?
Nose run, loses all three. In case you're wondering why we're not really pumping that shot up, we've seen him make so many. We expect it by this point, but that is a fantastic shot by Eriksson. His almost second triple of the day.
Right. Wow, come on, it's just an out turn down the center line.
A lot easier than the one he made in the second.
Yep. Gonna go. Hard. Hard. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, good shot, but
a little bit of damage control for Craik now. Not ideal when you're already down 2 without hammer. But try to keep themselves in the game and find something with Skip Stones to try to get out of the sand.
I think you got to go around the center here. He motioned open side, but because the yellow center guard, because it's yours, I like going around the middle.
Bite-linan mittåt-foten och idealt. Ja. Mittåt-fot. Bite 4 okej också. Vad tror du?
This is the draw they threw a bunch of times in the first end, so they know what's going on here.
Eriksson switching gears from the burner to the draw. Brent, where's the ideal depth on this coming around the center guard?
I would think right on the M, yeah, right there in Grand Slam of curling, right where Nick's broom is. You don't want to freeze it on there, then the run double kind of becomes easier. But anywhere buried is pretty good in front of the tee line, even if it's top 12.
I want this to hit the brakes now.
There you go. That's where you want it, right there.
The all-around game of Oscar Eriksson. Some call him the best shot maker in the game today.
He's one of those guys, isn't he?
You might be able to make an argument for somebody else, but not against Oscar.
You got a quarter.
He's definitely in the mix. Lost his skip at a slam in the last couple of years and just decided to skip his way to a slam victory. That's impressive.
Another hobby for Oscar is winning slams as a skip.
Yeah. Isn't he a disc golf guy? Like, he's big into that, I think.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
That for fun.
Not if we're all the way back 4.
We're thinking about putting the game on the line here. I guess it's already kind of on the line. Maybe they heard that I kind of had a shitty sleep last night and they're trying to get us out of here.
We're trying to curl it to like the one.
Yeah.
Even if we don't like shot, I'm okay with it.
14-5.
I don't really know what he does. He probably
I don't see it. I get what he's saying, but what's the likelihood they don't still score at least 2?
Probably.
I guess you could get it right to the back of the button. Shot rock buried.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, something's going to happen this end, Tyler.
Yeah, they're pretty much going all out.
Need
playing
to be shot
this draw.
Because if he comes it down and caps us, then cap straight back. If he goes top tee, then we're guarding.
Yeah, 14-5.
Who's got a plan? You got to like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tough part, Brent, is they really have to bury this, because if Nick can pick it out at all, they're perfectly content with leaving this exact same setup for the last shot, too. Craik's first. Out-turn draw, trying to bury around the center and the 2 stones in the house.
He'll come around one top button to the back button.
And they're calling light early. Does look like it needs to go a little bit.
Hard light.
Hard. This is a rock that we've seen die and curl, too. Boy, again, Brent, they called that they liked the weight there, too, once it got to halfway down the sheet. And over curls and light, so I would keep an eye on that stone.
They're gonna. Looks like they might have lots of time to talk about it here in a couple of minutes. If he can hit this one on the nose, Craig's just gonna have to rip a double and give him 2 and go down 4 after 3, which not a good situation.
12.
Den känns ju åt det hårda hållet.
Och sen kom
ifrån
den ner
släpp.
lite.
Så kom den ner lite grann.
Ja, jag tänker också, jag vill inte, alltså det känns som det
I
troliga
would
att
love to
det
hit
kommer
this
komma
right
här
on the
11
nose.
snarare.
Ja.
Försök inte
Don't want to roll to where
överspela
Oscar's
på
broom
chatten,
is. That would leave the thin and off double to lie shot behind everything. That's really the only way that this goes astray. I guess he could hit the center guard, but even that's not that bad.
When it comes to the game we love, I've been the right.
Out turn, hitting stick for Edin here. Rana really leaning on this one. That's perfect.
Nice.
What do you do now, Brent?
Yeah,
I think they can get them moving?
Well, you can get them all moving on this intern side if you can see it. It looks fairly buried.
He's got maybe a quarter there, at most.
Just
I think that
over
was
a quarter.
I think that was wishful thinking on that first call. Well, you know, it'd be great if that guard wasn't there, and then we could do this.
Yeah. I mean, I know, too, the game's not over, but it's almost over, and that's one of the things they're talking about right now.
I don't think you can even run the red in because it just
no, you have no energy left.
There.
Yeah.
Or you have to just pick it.
Either way,
Just looking at it, but can you get it to
thin quarter
spin in a little bit if you get this over the top?
9.
I think he knows that's his only way to get out of the end, but.
Oh wait, do you like just smooth
this
peel?
Is absolute jail for Team Craik.
Yeah,
right
probably
now.
just 8. Yeah.
What is he trying to do with this?
He thinks he can cut it thin enough that.
And get the triple?
No, just to get to. I think he's just playing to get it to number 1 and try to get inside. Now they're
looking at
peel.
Yeah.
Triple, but that's way too thin to try.
Okay.
I think thin quarter. Think.
Thin quarter is never comfortable.
I'm thinking like quarter's pretty close. Quarter's pretty close.
There's no out-turn double?
Yeah, quarter.
Does it just kind of feather the second one and miss the back
Just
one?
if we
it's
do
hard to tell again from up here.
at least it's going out. Just an inch.
I guess they are playing the slash. I would think that they can only play it to number 1.
Just plant it there, and then maybe the top yellow's hooked enough.
That's the hope for them. So intern, thin quarter run in for James Craik. Trying to stay in this game early.
Hard! Hard!
They don't like it here. That is too thin.
Oh, draw for 4. Lights out in Twinkletown.
Well,
what do you want to talk about?
I got a whole bunch of accomplishments for these teams I wrote down.
We're going to need them all.
Problem is we covered half of them already.
We have to. I'm pretty sure they have to play 5 ends as much as this game's about to be over.
You could pull up some more betting odds for the tournament too. That'd be the perfect time to go into that.
Let's do it.
May have gotten the call from above from Big Boss.
Edin's just went. His odds to win just went up for sure. Craik's went down. That's
the
how it
live
works.
odds are very high.
They're moving.
Great value on Craik though.
Yeah, probably.
Out turn draw for Edin.
Tight. Little panic out of his hand. That looks awfully tight.
Really hammering it for weight too. Got to get it to full 8 foot.
Uh-oh.
Gets around the guard. Will it get around the rock in the top 8?
Oh,
hold the
Nicholas.
string and does not get essentially a free point there for Edin. So rarely do you see a team unhappy with 3 walking off the ice, but that will be the case as Nicholas now takes a 6-1 lead over Craik after 3 ends of play.
Right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Odd end to the finish of the third, with both teams a little sour walking off the ice. Edin takes 3 but misses the draw to the 8-foot for 4. They lead Craik 6-1. Fourth end to play here in our first feature matchup for the men's side. The Co-op Canadian Open, the Silent Ice Center in Nisku, Alberta, just outside Edmonton. Tyler George with 3-time world champion, 16-time Grand Slam champion Brent Lang. Brent, I think we've all been a part of some of those ends where it seems like nobody's happy, following the end up. I think Craik is probably a little more unhappy, but very uncommon, unforced error there from Edin on his final shot, and it was right where he threw it, right out of his hand. They swept it the entire way.
Yeah, they were not fooled. He knew he didn't throw it hard enough, and the guys went end to end and just came up a little short, but 6-1, 7-1. Probably not going to affect the game, but I guess time will tell. If you're Team Craik here, I think you want to put 2 ends together where you just kind of make some, you're going to have some very makeable shots. We are going to see some peels from Edin now. You get to peel when you're up 5, even in the 5-rock rule. But a very unlikely comeback to start here. The rest of the games are tight. Team White's up 4-2 on Team Brunner. All games available on the stream. Get to pick your poison, whether you like hearing us or not, or you get to pick the teams. That's your choice. And then we've got Team Kui, Team Returnaz. Team Kui up 2-1, featuring the new look. Tyler Tardy slid down to second stone. And Aaron Slaczynski, the new third on Team Kui.
I was going to ask you about that move as well, Brett. It's a good time for that. With you talk about the unwritten rules maybe in the curling world, with Slaczynski as Kui's top competition in that province, and now picking him up and playing third for Kui. So you're really kind of taking the skip from the team you're competing against, and they did in last provincial final.
And that team blew up when it happened. They all went their separate ways.
I know we all kind of raised an eyebrow at that move too, and I mean it's Aaron's choice. If he opts to join that new team, it's not like they dragged him into it. But if you make the call and they say yes, then I'm not sure there's much else you can say. But yeah,
it's interesting, right?
It's an interesting one to say the least. Yeah.
We've seen it a few times over the years, but to see 2 of the top teams in Canada make changes in October, within days of each other is really strange. I thought Gushu was going to do the same thing and potentially blow up another team or steal a player, but that didn't end up happening. I don't know. Maybe we need contracts. I don't know the answer. It is up to the player to decide at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, there was no straight up 1-for-1 trade between the 2 teams.
But that'd be cool to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the trade market would make for more things to talk about with these situations with blowout games too. Edin now sitting 2. Top 4, top 8 foot. Staggered center guard.
Line's good. Hard line. Top 12. Hard.
Angus Bryce playing the come around draw around this corner. Again with 5-rock rule. Edin not able to peel until their next shot.
Tyler, that talk of stealing players had me choked up.
Getting emotional back here. Edin now clearing what they can, and these are really layups for Team Edin. It's always fun watching Rana throw these shots because he lets it go and he stands up immediately. And
when you know, you know.
Yeah,
it's like walking in a putt, right?
Yeah, and when you throw the weight that he does, really once you let it go, it's made or missed. You're not carving it. You're not holding the line very much. It's just wherever you throw it, that's where it's going.
We're not jealous of that weight ability, are we? That up weight ability, Tyler?
I've had dreams about it,
right?
Where I'm throwing it.
It looks easy when all these guys do it. It's a
Does
must
look really
have.
easy.
It really is a must-have tool now, it seems.
Carl, top 12.
Clean, you're good.
Even Gushu's throwing it harder than ever. Nobody wants to talk about that, but he definitely is.
Carl, hard. Yep. Hard. Yep. Top it. Hard.
So Craik makes some come arounds. This is always interesting how Nick plays these. He might play the peel the corner into the yellow into the side one. Like they've come up with some. Most people just hit and roll in off the wide one and lie three, I think. Okay, no more trick shots yet.
Some of the calls that you'll see now too are scoreboard, obviously, with Nicholas up 6-1. So really just, Brent, these are the ends we talked about. The designated two or designated deuce we'd consider where we're fine with the opponent getting two. We're just staying away from three no matter what. Obviously, you'd like to steal if possible or force your opponent, but you're not too disappointed giving it two if there's a situation where you have to decide between a riskier shot that could get you out of giving up two or a safer one that ensures you're not going to give up more than two.
Yeah, no question.
And based on what they've done so far and where the rocks are, I think they're fine. And that roll in, too, where you're now buried underneath the guard on that line.
Try and just hold onto a corner of it.
Okay, this is getting awfully late for this. You could see Edin switch gears here, though, too. Leaving them lying three this late seems, I mean, I wouldn't say risky. A down five life is going to be risky. He's trying to line it up so that it can't leave town, but also anything that hits it will take out all the yellows. I get what he's up to.
Close. Max
Top 8.
Clean.
Top 8.
Whoa. Clean. Line's good.
I agree, Brent. You're down to 3 shots after this. You're going to need to move a lot of stones in order to have any chance of making even this rock they're throwing right now count.
There's an audible here.
Okay.
Would have had, if he made that perfectly, would have had 2 stones that were virtually unremovable, though. That's always good when you're down 5.
Okay. Flisa insida eller köp där.
But
Den här är en
you got big
halvsten
trouble
högre.
now.
Okay.
You're going to be a
Vi
wall
spelar
of
lite
yellow.
fart så.
Line 4, center guard.
8 typ. Ja.
You're not really going to have much choice but to throw weight to open things up. And again, not something that's ideal down by 5. Not a lot of option either. So Eriksson throwing firm, just taking the ice out of it. Might be considered peel for some people. Dead on the nose.
Looked like bored, but probably about a 7-5.
It's all relative with Oscar. There's that wall you were talking about, Brent, with 3 yellow stones.
Yeah, Nick's probably not going to have to throw any hits, as crazy as that seems. Like, I don't see any doubles that end up very good. I guess you gotta make the middle onto shot rock and roll on top. That's the only good double I see.
What are you thinking? We play this, they're either straight round or they're playing a hack waiter into here. You probably don't score.
Oh, we need to hit something.
Yeah, you're not scoring right now.
I'm just wondering which one's best.
Yeah, I think that's a shot.
Probably.
I think it's the middle one onto shot rock and try and save your shooter. I don't see this doing a whole bunch. Gonna leave those 2 buried, eh?
8.
Yeah, I mean, the rock you really need to move. Well, the 2 that I think you need to move most are that middle one in the wall of 3 and the number 1, like you said.
I think you could make that double and roll kind of on top or over towards the corner guard. And
you still have 2 rocks in the house and then only 2 yellows in. So you're making progress.
Yeah.
But you're also opening up the scoring space a little bit, too, by removing that number 1 counter.
Here is it.
Whoa. Carl. Whoa, clean.
So Watt throwing the out turn.
Clean. Yep.
Trying to lose a couple, we believe.
Sounds good.
Okay. Opens up the draw path at least. Sitting 3rd and 5th.
Ja, men då tar den inte vägen någonstans. Nej.
Well, if that's as good as you could, we should have picked something different. 'Cause that doesn't look very good. Like that angle's on the left side. The one behind the corner guard's no longer scoring. I mean, it's become a score one, and let's not lose 10-1 here.
Yeah, you're going to need a complete miss by Edin to have any chance at more than one. And
he's
one
not
looks
looking
pretty
ready
good
to do that today. I think you might have got your miss out of Nick last end. Year to date, though, the numbers are up on the board. Edin only at 70 points.
Yeah, they're 23rd year to date. Still ranked number 9 overall.
But number 9, putting pools together, that's when you walk over to these guys and you say, quit screwing around, you're messing up the pools.
Obviously a factor at the slams too, with what we talked about earlier with the advancement of a lot of these younger European teams, and even going back maybe a decade, the bottom of the field you would think would be a softer game, and you're not going to find a down game in this field with the top 16. But yeah, with walking in at, okay, 9, middle of the pack, fine. That's the 7-time world champion.
You're the 8th seed in a 16-team triple, and you play. We get a Dean?
Just right to the lid.
That was a tougher draw than last time, Nicky. That is a good shot. Yep. Oh, he's trick shots, trying to bring some reds into play here. A good call if he could make it. I might be able to get all 3. And then have 3-on-1.
Yeah, I was thinking, why are we not just freezing the number 1 to give yourself a chance, or tap it just a touch? But still tough to get 2 playing that shot.
If he can see enough of that yellow, this is the call.
Okay, then half's pretty close.
At least put a little bit of fear into Nick and the fellas. The other game out there that we didn't update is Team Gushu up 2-1 with the hammer on Team Carruthers, playing the 5th. Coming off what I'm sure they would agree was a disappointing playoff week. I know they've kind of rolled through the round robin last week at the Pan Continentals, and then back-to-back losses. You don't see that out of those guys very often. I got to think you got to blame the new guy, right?
That's the easy mark, no question.
They've never done it before Brendan got on the team, so that's got to be
math
what we do.
On that.
Yeah. I'm interested to watch that team, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yep. Hard.
In turn. In off for Craik. Catch is a little too thick, but sitting second. An interesting spot. Can't see all of the red.
Did he bump the yellow far enough to make the double if they guard? Oh. Replay. Not quite.
The angles still play pretty bad for Craik.
Är det möjligt att han kan ha ett direktslag här för 2 också, eller?
Ja, med hack. Precis. Men den är ju svår.
TT, har han tillräckligt av den, eller?
Ja, det har han också. Så garda. Eller spela den här.
Trying to figure out what are we guarding, like what's his shot here.
Bara.
I think that's a good place to start when you're trying to pick a shot. It's like, well, what would they do if we didn't shoot? This is their easiest shot. Maybe take that one away.
Beror på hur tunn, men ta väldigt tunn där, mycket in, då får den här.
And even that is just for 1.
I don't see anything super exciting for James to try.
They don't have enough of the number 2 counter their own red that they could just tap it for 2, I don't believe.
Ja, en 8 blir bra. Gillar ni det? Eller är det att ge något svårt? Ja. Kan ju skjuta här också. Enda risken är väl om man tar lite utsida. Ja. Eller är det smart att bara garda och ge något av de här jättesvåra för 2? Vi leder ju med 6-1.
I believe the Rock Shop is opening today, Tyler. TheRockShop.net. Get all your curling group and GSOC, Grand Slam of Curling gear.
Yeah, some fantastic stuff in the shop. Brent, you're sporting the sweatshirt right now.
Oh, yeah.
Looks awfully nice. I wore a
stay on brand.
I had the sweatpants on in the hotel room last night.
Those are awesome, aren't they?
Extremely
comfortable. They're great. Especially when it's snowing outside like it is today. Wouldn't be an Alberta Slam without a little snow.
Oh, really nice gear. I would encourage everybody to visit the Rock Shop, whether it's here at the venue or ordering from home.
Yeah, everything's on the GSOC app. And they're doing a feature piece at everyone, right? Like there's going to be a Nisku specific. There was a Charlottetown Curling Club logo piece last time.
I wore that one out a couple times, and no lie, got a lot of compliments on that sweatshirt from people who would normally tell me I look like a schlub. So that's a great, if it can make me look good, I'll tell you what. So we'll have to see what the local flavor is this time around, and obviously Brent and I will have to model that as well.
Oh, for sure.
And you too can wear what Brent Lang wears.
Just in
the clothing line of champions.
Easier, no? Yeah, 3/4 or 2/3.
All sizes.
3/4 pretty close because this is always safe. Yeah. It's just whether you hold the shooter or not.
Yeah, it looks tough to hold the shooter and throw enough weight to kill shot rock.
12-5, I don't think moves
I think we need 12 at least. I think 12. 12 is the right weight. Like, we're going to move that out of the 8 foot, out of the 4 foot at least. Yeah.
The way things are going so far for Team Craik, this probably goes through the hole and lose the shooter, don't they? Trying to hit as thick as he can, maybe roll to the broom and maybe hang on for 2. That would be a bit of a miracle, though, I think. But possible. Got to get the weight right. 12 is just kind of back line, just through the rings, I think. Almost hack.
Get so close to this rock in the top of the 8 foot to score, let alone get more than one. From that long view in the overhead, I'm not sure that it's there for more than one. I think they can score.
A little more ice.
I don't think so.
This will be an out-turn tap. Try to score for Team Craik, their final stone, the first half of this feature matchup.
12. Clean. Yep.
They like the weight.
Yep. Yes. Weight's good. Go. Weight's good.
Hard.
Hard. Easy.
Hard. Hard. Curl. Whoa.
Chris.
Really close.
Hard. Hard.
Did they make it for 2? It's really close. They think they may have it. Checking on the overhead here again.
What a shot, regardless of what the outcome is.
Yeah, that is awfully close. So at least one. Could not throw that any different than they did or hit it with any more or less weight. We'll find out now if it is indeed 2. So we got to make our first call of the week, Brent. Pretty tough. We don't have an overhead right now, so.
I think we measure it.
Let's not take any more time here, boys. Looks like it's close enough to measure.
Boy, it's a very long view to call it. Okay, here's our overhead. I'm going to go with red. I'm going to say they got there too.
Okay, that gives me yellow.
You can agree.
No,
you have to go against me. All right. People are still telling stories about the legendary 8 consecutive correct calls on measures I had doing the Nationals for U.S. and Denver.
I didn't know I was up against a pro.
Now I had a losing streak after that.
Okay.
Flamed out. Kind of like a Fernando Valenzuela type of thing. God rest his soul. Legend early.
2 red.
2 it is.
What a shot.
1 on the board for me. Great shot from James Craik to get that 2 and cut the deficit 3 at the break. Edin leads 6-3.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, where your Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
Back for the second half of action, our feature matchup. This 8 a.m. morning draw here at the Silent Ice Center. The Co-op Canadian Open live from Nisku, Alberta. Team Edin leads Team Craik 6-3. Edin will have hammer. Tyler George here with Brent Lang. And Brent, fantastic shot by James Craik to finish off that end. We were a little confused as to why they left that, even if they weren't sure if it was there for two. Certainly was there for at least one, and guarded up what looked like a shot that was never getting more than one, no matter what, on that intern side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hard to say for sure from our vantage point, but definitely, I mean, I didn't think that shot was very makeable for two, but James, I wouldn't say he made it look easy. He made it look as hard as it was, but made it perfect. That's the best shot I think we've seen this week so far. Maybe he's in the mix for shot of the week for an extra G-Bird.
Yeah, we have to note that and make sure that it gets put in the books as a contender. Just because it's 9 a.m. on Tuesday doesn't mean it doesn't have a chance.
It's the early leader, we'll say that.
Yeah.
We've overcurled on everything. I'd rather it split center.
Yeah, you want to be on center here. Nick chose not to play the chip. That's not on the center line. He could have ticked it, but...
Should note, too, that Craik's first in the fourth.
Just line.
They played that in-off. Did overcurl a little bit again, so that's 4 times he's missed with that shot on the narrow side. Yep.
Make sure.
We here in the booth want to give the players every out we possibly can, although if he keeps that rock for the entire game, then it's really not giving him an out anymore because they haven't figured it out. So for now, yeah, it's not on the shooter. Maybe it's on the stone.
There's a bit of rubber on the...
Two very separated guards for Team Craik. It's the plan for Edin now. Sundgren, out-turn, come around draw to the top of the fours, top of the eights.
Somebody's got a bell in their pocket sweeping or something. A lot of jingle jangle there. Maybe it's all the cash that they haven't been winning yet this year. I was just seeing the world rankings, and on the men's side, there's 4 Canadian teams in the top 10. On the women's side, Tyler, there's only 2, which is exciting to see, I think, for curling. I mean, as a Canadian, I know our social media curling experts, you can't see the quotations on fire in the air. They don't love it, but I think it's great to see for the game where it's going. And
yeah, and I think it's okay to be provincial and cheer for your Canadian teams, no pun intended. But if you ask anybody at the high levels of the sport if it's good for it or not, you have to say it is.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that you don't cheer for your teams to do well, too. But, yeah, even going back to our playing days not that long ago, there were more Canadian teams in these events, in the Grand Slams in particular.
But that was always the point. Not always the point. In the beginning, the point was to piss off Curling Canada. But and to get something like this product, though, was always the idea. It was never meant to improve Canadian curling. It was meant to improve curling around the world and give the athletes a place to shine and share our sponsors and promote ourselves and promote the game. And there's no better place to do it. Here we are 23 years later, I think.
Sounds about right.
I think 2001 was the first year.
4 feet more.
2001, 2002 season.
Don't let the hair last. Just...
That's a couple inches less.
Okay.
Do you want more?
I think less because we're throwing more weight.
Okay.
The strategy for Team Edin now is pretty simple. If it's red, you hit it. Try and make sure you score here. There's not a lot of time left. You can afford to score, give up 2, score, give up 2, and I think the math still works.
I was just going to say, yeah, the curling math that we talk about so much, if you're in a situation where you can score 2s with the hammer and force your opponent to 1 and still win the game, then you don't feel like you're in too dire straits, but that math does not work out for Team Craik right now. If they were to force Edin to 1, then curling math is already out the window for them. So at some point they would need either a 3 or a steal.
Preferably both.
Yeah.
We're going to see some high hard ones here. This Rasmus might bring a little extra pepper on this one.
Rana playing the out turn, throwing the high hard one. It's most of them moving. Right now shot rock, but
pretty good.
Number one goal accomplished there for Edin. If you're watching, wondering why it's a good thing that they took themselves out of 2 rocks count, they basically almost eliminated any serious chance of a steal by making that shot, and that's playing the scoreboard. Most dangerous rock that's left is the rock they left there, playing the run. So. But such a weapon, Brent, being able to throw it that hard and clear that many stones. You really only have to hit, a couple inches high or low in order for the shooter to move, too.
It's a big part of the game these days, no question. Looking around today, there's lots of good shots being made. I know in Charlottetown, there were some wild games early. It looks like the ice is maybe a little less green or a little less fresh than we saw in Charlottetown early. So I think we're going to, in some ways, we'll have a little less entertainment because when they struggle with the ice, it's frustrating as a player. But from up here, misses sometimes make things more interesting.
Yeah, the things that frustrated the most playing are the most entertaining here.
For them now, right? But no, it looks like they've got the ice in a good spot, and we'll just have to settle for some of the best shot making on earth. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
How hard is this one coming?
Yikes. They hit that rock probably at an inch off nose, and it still rolled 1.5 feet, which is the reason for that weight. But Brent, with that shooter staying is not really that bad for Team Edin there because the guard is so high now. Losing that second one was the key.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything behind that's chaseable. There's nothing in the 4 foot yet, and even if it does get to the 4 foot behind that guard, it's not very close to the button.
There wasn't much else Team Craik could do with the rock placement either.
No, there was a lot of separation there. We'll see, and that one came from the hip with Oscar, and he's got some interesting ways. We always talked about him a lot over the years. He almost pushes the back of the handle with his palm sometimes. Have you ever seen him do that?
Yeah, and his fingers trail off and touch the back of the stone as it goes too, which, as long as it's before the hog line, is still fine.
Looks like that's open enough. Can you chase that? Yeah.
Best player in the world on the women's side, Rachel Holman, just walked into the building. You attain that status, then you just get mentioned even walking in, right? That's it. She's earned it.
GPS trackers on the best of the best.
Jag tror de ligger 2. Klippa gard. Eller klippa garden kanske. Ja.
Really good placement there on that draw.
Was he running this back, I think? We're going to see another rocket.
Fireworks show from Team Edin this end.
No, this is just regular peel. I think he's just peeling it.
Not just opening it up. They're not entirely concerned with those rocks in the top of the 8 foot as there's no guards in play.
Yeah, no, but he's looking to see his shot. He's looking to see his second shot. We're still guarding. That's the next shot.
It appears as though Craik is sitting 2. Not positive on that. At least one for sure, but the overhead can be a little difficult to tell, but definitely looks like it's 2 red.
You're batting 100, so the fact that he's talking about tapping this tells me maybe they're not, but
I think they're just trying to get a counter closer to the 4s playing it now.
Aren't you just drawing around here? I guess then the double probably goes really close to straight back onto it.
Sorry that you try and draw around it just now.
Now that's a
possibility.
I don't hate that.
Nick will double the top two.
If he doubles, he has to roll the shooter away, though.
Yeah.
Or it'll be covering the rock that Craik is throwing right
He probably
now.
does this.
Yeah.
I think the come around is probably the right shot right
He
now.
calls the bluff. We probably almost want him to now.
Yeah.
So even if he makes it, we play the halfway or on the wider one.
Yeah. What turn?
Yeah. Play
Where's
the
the
guard
ice?
on the top 12 one.
Yeah, I think you're guarding. I think that makes sense too.
More than that.
I think what they were talking about was
Halfway.
Yeah.
Guard the
they're,
top 12
they're
one.
guarding. The other shot they were talking about, which is
You might just
interesting
pick the one that's
because of the
there,
terminology
then
they
at least
used
you have
was
a free come around.
drawing back 8.
Pretty fast.
And I think the thought process is the same. You draw back 8, you're daring him to draw. They said call our bluff was their term. You throw the guard, you're daring him to draw.
Yeah, I think the
and
only
then play
way
the hack weight in either way on that red stone that's farthest out in the top of the 8 foot.
I don't see Nick drawing. Definitely he's not drawing if you draw around. He's going to rip that top double. This is fairly light.
This is the stone that we've been talking about all game.
Hard. Keep going. Line's good. We're barely over. Okay, over and up.
To really hammer it to get it over.
Probably does the trick as long as there's no double.
Does the job.
It looks to be okay. No double there.
Ja, men då är det samma dragning igen. Då kan ju dra här, låta han dra där, då får vi dra locket då.
They could consider drawing now.
Gillar ni att dra? Alltså man får känna på den om jag får dra på sista också.
Antingen det.
Especially if he's second.
Försöka lägga den här uppe.
Där. Eller typ dra en. Här, låta dem göra dragningen.
Sätta han taken där, då får vi takea mot 3 då, eller dra mot 3.
Jag gillar den.
Ja, jag tror det. Speciellt när det börjar sätta sig lite. Jag gillar att dra, gör han något bra, då får vi i alla fall samma dragning.
Even if Team Craik can come up with the miracle here, they're going to run out of time, so got that going for us.
I just looked at that now.
6:57.
Wow.
You can play an end in 30 seconds if you need to under this format, though, so I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek. They're not actually going to run out of time, but they're not going to get to talk a lot if this game somehow gets back to close. Something crazy happens here and they could ever steal 1 or 2.
Yeah, your goal here is, I mean, obviously if you can steal, great, but if you can somehow make Nick look at 3,
that would be nice.
You only need 1 miss and you're right back in it.
I think probably Nick thinks he's second and that's why he's able to draw here.
Ja, känns som halva fyran, full fyra.
But either way, I guess he could draw. And
I don't know if there's a better shot regardless if Craik is 2.
No, you peel the guard and then you're just basically giving up a steal of 1. You're never going to give up steal 2 if you peel the guard. Oh, panic. It's that same draw you missed in game 3.
Exact same line.
Looks like the same weight, too. Oscar comes out and finishes this. I love what they do here.
That really has to go. Need to finish it, too. It's going to be shot.
That's a scrub.
That's the time in the gym. Well done. Great sweep from all 3 players.
And they really buy into that heavy lean, early. They don't really move their broom for the first almost 2/3 of the sheet.
Yeah, they've done a lot of research with that in the results.
Everything.
Yeah,
these guys are kind of the mad scientists of curling, I think. They do spend a lot of time curling.
Well, it's nice that we have them, and I would say Gushu and Mowat would be the teams that spend the most time on these things, and then the rest of us just wait to see what they do.
Gushu did save curling by blowing it up with that broom thing.
Yeah.
He was the one who figured that out. That was, that was pretty wild for a bit. But Nick, these guys play all sorts of crazy shots and with extra spin and all that other madness.
See the timeout as they are extremely low, as you mentioned.
Right?
Quick spinner on the other sheets. See a steal of 3 by Gushu to put the clamps down on that game with Carruthers 6-1.
Ram time. 0-1.
Blank in 5, and Kui retains hammered down 4-2 against Joel Retornas. Over here on sheet 1. White leading Brenner 6-4. White with hammer up 2. Playing the 6.
Can he slice his back, his second one in there? He must not think he's second. Or third, rather. Because if he could just hit his wide one here in lie 2,
Yeah, you have to assume they don't think they're second if they're not playing that, because they'd be sitting 2 in a pretty good position otherwise.
12.
Yeah, I mean, you hit and roll to the side of the forefoot. I don't know if Nick draws with the score, but he did just throw it. But you want him to draw against 2.
Not curled anymore.
Yeah, I think if you're Nick, you're probably hitting regardless.
Unless it rolls all the way over to that GSOC logo, back 8, just full 8 to I2, then he probably draws.
Craik throwing his last here in the 5th. Out turn hit.
Yep. Yep.
Please good.
Yes.
Hack weight.
Hard. Hard.
Line holding for now.
Hard.
This mic cord's
Hard. Right
almost going
to
to
it.
hit the brake.
Hard.
Weight coming
Yes.
off. And Rex, so. Little broom slam from James.
Not happy.
His second of the day. That one was a little better than the first one, too.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, do it.
Get your money's worth.
Right? Not a huge fan of doing it in the middle of the sheet like that, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, the misses the entire game, Brent, especially on Craik's side, were narrow.
Yeah.
I don't remember any wide side misses the entire game from them. And almost all in the center of the sheet, too, where you're getting those in-between paths. So Edin, open draw for 2. Could be handshakes, possibly. We'll see if Craik wants to
good chance.
Keep it going, but final stone of the 5th.
He gave the guys a little break here. He's been killing them on this out-turn draw.
A little extra on that one. Sweepers like it, though.
Yeah.
Don't think there'll be any issue with this one. Sundgren and Rana just valeting this one into the 4-foot. That will be 2 for Edin and handshakes. So our final score here, our opening feature matchup here at the Co-op Canadian Open. Edin with an 8-3 victory over Team Craik, the 7-time world champions. Go to 1-0, or Team Craik dropped obviously to 0-1. We will be back at noon Mountain Time for our second feature matchup this afternoon. The coverage, the first draw for the women. So for Tyler George and Brent Lang signing off, we will see you this afternoon.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
the shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final enjoy casual.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
the shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the